L'Opéra Garnier is also known as Palais Garnier or Garnier Palace. Construction on this opera began in 1862, and it was supposed to be a pretty quick project, but then it wasn't completed until 1875. And that's because they ran into some technical difficulties, because when they tried to build the foundation, they found an underground lake. So they decided to continue construction, but there is a legend that one of the construction workers fell into the lake and drowned as they tried to figure out how to build a building on top of an underground lake. And that construction worker then began to haunt the building, and the as he haunted the building, he fell in love with the opera and became known as Le Fantôme de l'Opéra, or the Phantom of the Opera. And so, if you've seen the musical or the opera, Phantom of the Opera, that's where that legend comes from, and this is where he lives. You can distinguish this opera house by the two, well, actually, there are four, there are two on the other side as well, gold statues on the edges, which almost match the statues on Pont Neuf. It also has another piece of famous um, famous art, I guess. This is Les Grands Escaliers, or the Grand Staircase. And this staircase you have probably seen in many movies, including Phantom of the Opera, when Christine runs down the staircase and bolts out of the opera house. But it's also a part of the set on Titanic, if you have seen that movie, as well as many others. So it's a very famous staircase. And the inside of the opera house is not the largest as far as how many it seats, but it is the largest opera house in the world when you count square footage. Now it's used less often for operas, but more often for ballets. As you can see, most of the seating and decoration is done in red velvet and gold leaf. And then there's a chandelier at the top of the room. You can't see right here, but that chandelier weighs over 6 tons. And so, if you've seen the movie Phantom of the Opera, when the chandelier falls, what actually they would suggest would happen is if that chandelier fell, then it would actually be heavy enough to fall through the floor of the opera house into the underground lake. If you think about our stage at school, at the high school, our stage can hold maybe 40 actors comfortably. I mean, perhaps more uncomfortably, but this stage can hold over 450 actors or dancers, which dancers obviously take up a lot more space. So the stage is giant. And here's a more clear picture of the outside. You can see Académie Nationale de Musique. It's not only Music Academy, it also has acting and other pieces to it. And then here's a picture of looking out from the stage. So here's where the audiences are again. You have those red velvet seats, the chandelier, which is just phenomenal in itself, your box seats up top, and then check out the stage as we kind of turn. So we have a really nice stage in Brown County, but this is enough to make anyone interested in stagecraft drool, with all of the catwalks and large wings and so on. Backstage, you'll notice this nice, elegant room. This was and occasionally still is a meeting room. So if any of the production has honored guests, then they will sometimes meet them back here for a meet and greet with the dancers or actors, and enjoy each other's company, sign autographs, and so on. So if you were to imagine going into one of the ballets or pieces of theater, this is the type of hallway you would walk through in order to get to your seat. So you can see it has lots of modern-ish art, that will show you. There are also galleries, of famous actors and actresses and dancers that have been at, um, in the um, in the shows. If you can see from where you would be sitting in the balcony, you can also take a look at these seats and how decorated and ornate they are with that velvet coloring, and then surrounded in gold leaf, and of course that chandelier up top, which almost looks like a comic strip because of the coloring. So let's get out of here before the phantom sees us, chases us off.